name's Albert Kruger, the CEO of Sydney Gay and Lesbian Mardi Gras, and my pronouns are he, him. And today we're really excited to be interviewing Glenn Hansen from the Stonewall Hotel, pronouns he, him also. Welcome, Glenn.
Thank you, Albert. Nice to see you.
Thanks for taking the time to chatting to us today. We know it's a bit of a funny time for everyone to, sit down and give us a little bit of time, but it's always important for us to check in with our major community organizations and to see how we can support and understand what you guys are going through, because I'm sure there's many questions out there wondering what's happening right now. So it's great for you to give us the time. Thank you so much. So on that trend, COVID has turned our lives upside down. Everything's changed. Just recently, the group bookings have been, minimized from 20 to 10. What's happening at Stonewall? How are you guys coping?
It's very hard. I mean, especially for the way our bars are set out. I mean, obviously it's still the 1 square meter rule. So for us at the moment, we can only have like 43 people in the public bar downstairs and 11 people in the Diva bar. At the moment, it's not worth us opening the upstairs because we could only have like 26 in each room. So normally a venue that holds 570 and probably doubles that through a night is 43 seated in the public bar and 11 seated in Diva. So it's a huge impact on the bar.
Yeah.
You've still got to have security. Lucky we've got people on JobKeeper. The overheads are high. Stonewall's not owned by a hotel group, so everything has to come out of that bar, whether it's our entertainment, our DJs, a place without cover charge, and everything, has to be made out of that bar to succeed or to pay rent.
The other question I wanted to ask you is, of course, now with the track and trace that's in place with all these major institutions, are you guys experiencing any pushback with taking people's details and worried about privacy moving forward with regard to that?
We did. I think initially people were very for it. And, we have QR codes. We also have, sign in case they don't have a smartphone. And I think the thing is to stay on top of that. Like we've had it in since day one, but now more than ever, whether people just to write their correct name, to be legible with their phone numbers. It's so important for the tracing, and we can all see that with what's happening. So I think, people, need to think when they come into a bar, try to use the QR code because obviously it's more legible. Some people don't have great handwriting, but it's so important. And, our whole, main issue is to keep people safe, our staff, our customers. So, that's a big thing, and we need to keep with that.
Yeah, no, I totally get that. And I mean, it's funny. It feels like just the other day, it was New York Pride. We're all celebrating World Pride in New York, and, time has flown by so quickly. And of course, you arranged Sydney Pride, and you had an amazing initiative all through the month. Actually, a number of initiatives. Can you tell us a little bit about all these online activations?
Yeah, I think because we were looking at so many prides being closed down around the world, and with the COVID, everyone was doing so much streaming online that in the end we thought, okay, well, what if we put Love Stream together and promote all the people that are streaming online, that are struggling, the performers, people having meetings, so that there was a connection in the community. Even with Stonewall here, when we started live from Stonewall, almost like a web TV show. And our main purpose of that was to stay connected with our community while the hotel was locked down. And I think the good things that come out of Love Stream was it showed how broad we could connect with people. I mean, normally they come to a Pride launch at Stonewall and it has 200 people in the public bar. This got out to 8,000 people, and people could hear the speeches or see what it was about. And I think that's the great thing that streaming has shown us, that we can reach, people in rural communities, kids that, might connect with the gay community here, and they get to see that, and especially with mental health and people stuck at home, it was so important, I think, that people could reach out or see things and, story time for kids. All those things are so important to our community, and to have it as a love stream, we ended up with 135 events, which was great. Yeah, and I just think it took it to a new level, that maybe that's something we need to think about in the future, even when we have these events, is to also stream so we can connect community.
I think that's really important, and it's always a thing on Mardi Gras agenda. It's always something that we're focusing on. And it's one thing that we host these events and we have, X number of people attending them, but there is a major responsibility for us as community organizations to try and reach further and wider throughout Australia and, New South Wales, just New South Wales rural areas, and extending that reach. Is that something Stonewall will now be focusing on moving forward, even if it's a post-COVID?
We've always thought about doing, and I think the thing with COVID, it made us do it. So, it made us think of doing like Stonewall Live from the theatre, things that we probably would have put off. And, all of a sudden it was, let's action this, let's make this happen. And I think it taught people, because people were learning to Zoom meetings and streams. So it was all new to all of us, and performers performing in their lounge room, that it really showed what we can do, with streaming. And I think, that'll be an amazing reach to, like I said, people in rural communities to be able to feel part of the, the community that we've set up so strongly here, and with Mardi Gras. So very important.
Fantastic. So what's next for Stonewall? Are you able to host any events as such, or what is on the plan, if you were to give us a bit of a, futuristic look?
Very hard, because we've had to cancel functions, obviously things that have been, put in place. So we were planning to open the theatre, Hello Darlings, which now hasn't happened since COVID. So slowly, it's very hard, like I said, with the limited number of people, that we can't even have performers or DJs really back at the moment. We are doing a couple of late night on a Friday, every couple of weeks. This week we've got Trans Fabulous, which is 3 trans performers and DJ happening in the bar, and that's like $20 and includes champagne, a glass of champagne, and you get to see the show. Those sort of things we're just trialing at the moment, because that's about all we can do. Like I said, it's just keeping the place safe, and hopefully everyone in the community working together, so we can, combat COVID and slowly start to reopen or come back to some sort of normality. But it struggles at the moment. But
I can imagine. If I just think back also, we've seen Universal launching Premiere, you guys launching these events, and it's also great because the more our community knows about it, in advance, they can support these amazing initiatives, because of course it's also about those entertainers, and you're hitting the nail on the head. It's one thing for our community to go somewhere and feel safe and in a safe environment and have a good time, but it's also on the other end of the spectrum, it's our entertainers that are out of work and not earning a single penny and aren't eligible for JobKeeper.
Definitely, and that was the hardest thing. Probably when we first closed down, the hardest thing was saying goodbye to, all the performers and DJs, and not knowing when that can come back. And, watching them stream from home, and, they're working for tips and trying to make a living without, JobKeeper before they could actually get that if they were on the ABNs. But, it was very hard. And same with a lot of our staff, because a lot of our staff were from overseas or overseas students that might have worked here a long time, but they weren't eligible for anything. So trying to look after them and make sure they're all right if they couldn't get home, or, how do we stay connected with our staff as well for when we do open back up. You've been, that's probably been the hardest thing is, the people that are so loyal to Stonewall and that do such amazing work here, and not being able to have them in the venue or perform.
Well, on behalf of the community, we all want to say thank you so much for all the effort that you're putting in, and still, being a beacon of light for all of us in these tough times. Please let us know when any of these shows of yours are coming up. We'd be happy to share them across all of our channels to support you guys. Because of course that's important, and that is the power of Mardi Gras, is supporting all of our grassroots organizations and community spaces, so that we all have them at the end of the day after this really trying time. So thank you very much for everything you do and for your time today. We will share everything across our socials in addition to that, and hopefully we'll all come out at the end of this and just think of it as a really bad time in our lives, and we'll never see something like it again.
Exactly. We look forward to those times.
Thank you so much, Glenn, for your time. Really, really appreciate it, and have a very good week, and good luck for the show this weekend.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.